I would really like my legacy to be one where I look at the team that's left behind, and I see number one, a congenial team, so a team that's working together as a single team, that's very focused on generating growth and continuous opportunity, continuously innovating. I would love it if 2 weeks after I eventually leave Standard Chartered Bank, the bank comes up with a new product or a new service, and I scratch my head and say, "God, I wonder why I didn't think of that," or "I wonder why we didn't do that when I was there." But be excited about that, because that'll be the indication that we've got something that's enduring.
This balance between bringing new energy, new strength, cleaning up some of the problems, and then at the same time, as you said, benefiting from the legacy or the bench strength that you already have. Um, what was involved in balancing that?
It's always a big challenge because you know, the grass always feels greener on the other side. So it's always tempting to say, well, I can get the person that's exactly what I want from outside the organization, and we've done some of that, and we've promoted lots of people from within the organization. We're at the point now where we have such a deep bench that I would hope that as we go forward, we can have fewer and fewer people coming from outside, more and more inside. And when we go outside, it's either because we've got very specific skills that we need, or because we want a fresh perspective on something. But we have an extremely deep bench of talent inside the bank that's ready to take on leadership positions across the board.
Now, at the same time, you've opened a number of new frontiers, and some of those frontiers are being forced on you because technology is changing, markets are changing, and so you have your innovation hubs. You've got SG Ventures and so on. All of these new frontiers. What is your sense in providing the leadership required for challenges that the bank never had before? And is it a risk that you would want to take on yourself?
Look, we ask ourselves the question all the time, what's going to happen to us if we stand still? And in banking, it's always been the case, by the way. Obviously, with the fintech revolution, or with open banking, or with very powerful e-commerce platforms that are so far skirting around the edges of finance, but obviously eyeing the profitable parts of finance, standing still doesn't feel like a very good option. And the choices that you have are, do you defend your position to the last man, or do you become part of the process of disruption? And of course, we're defending the strengths and the strong positions that we have, but we've also decided that we need to be disruptive ourselves. We can disrupt our own business model. So sitting here in Hong Kong, where we launched a digital bank that does compete with the main bank. Different areas of focus, different types of products and services, but fundamentally, they're both banks. So we're going to compete with ourselves, we're going to challenge ourselves, we're going to disrupt. But by creating some of these digital ventures and understanding what really makes a difference to our customers, it's enormously helping our own bank. So the Standard Chartered Bank is a much better bank by virtue of the 100 partnerships that we have with different fintech companies, by virtue of the digital banks that we built around the world, by virtue of the experiments that we've undertaken, some of which have been very successful, some of which have not been. And we learn from every one of those, and then we try to take that lesson back into the rest of the bank. But I don't think you can shy away from the future. You have to run into the future, embrace the future, make sure that you stay alive while you do that, so not become reckless. And that's what we've tried to do, and I think we've been pretty successful.
So here's a leadership question. Your legacy. If after having stepped down from the bank, some of those new frontiers that you've opened, if they are found to be wanting, or if they're not going to carry the valuations that you wish they would, markets change on them and so on, how would you look back at your own legacy, and how would you defend what you're building today?
Well, I mean, let's hope that the things that we're building today are enduring, but nothing is enduring in a static state. So we'll have to continuously evolve. I would really like my legacy to be one where I look at the team that's left behind, and I see number one, a congenial team, so a team that's working together as a single team, that's very focused on generating growth and continuous opportunity, continuously innovating. I would love it if 2 weeks after I eventually leave Standard Chartered Bank, the bank comes up with a new product or a new service, and I scratch my head and say, "God, I wonder why I didn't think of that," or "I wonder why we didn't do that when I was there." But be excited about that, because that'll be the indication that we've got something that's enduring. We're a bank. We've got to stay safe and sound, right? So I think the different part of the legacy is to have the built-in resilience so that when you get something wrong, and we're going to get things wrong all the time, it doesn't set us back, right? And obviously, an extremist, that doesn't cause a financial problem. Right now, extremely strong financially, good innovation engines, good future-oriented, growth-oriented, with a great team. So,
when I look at your balance sheet, and this is a question that has been on my mind for all the time that Standard Chartered has been Standard Chartered, even before you were part of the bank. Balance sheet, it's 70% a Hong Kong bank. And then it has exposure to China and then the rest of the world. How much of that are you trying to change? How many legs would this institution have to stand on? And is the status quo endurable, for the long term?
yeah, I mean, Hong Kong is our biggest single market, followed very closely by Singapore, followed very closely by China, Korea, India, the UAE. UAE is now our third most profitable market. Huge turnaround from just 3 years ago. Present in across sub-Saharan Africa. Maybe a little known fact is that in our corporate bank, which is about 2/3 of the overall group, 1/3 of our client income comes from clients from the US and America. Sorry, the US and Europe, right? Americas and Europe. 1/3. Why is that? Well, it's because they're highly attracted to what we can do back in this part of the world. We do some business in the US and in Europe, but a lot of it is in India, it's in Korea, it's in China, it's in Nigeria. So we're actually extremely well diversified globally, but we absolutely have a core China and Greater China anchor, with Hong Kong at the center of that, as the offshore financial center for China. And I want them all to grow. Thankfully, right now, they're all growing, all of them. Every single client segment and region, product line is growing. That won't always be the case, but as we all grow, we become stronger and even better dispersed and more relevant for a broader range of clients.
So, final question. Milestones that you've set for yourself in the next 18 months, and benchmarks by which you want to measure your leadership.
Yeah, we've got financial benchmarks. So we want to cross the threshold of covering our cost of capital in the next couple of years. Our cost of capital has gone up in this environment, so that the challenge has become a little bit greater, but we're very well on track to achieving that. We've got specific targets around our own efficiency. So we are.
You are an expensive bank, by the way.
Well, global banks are expensive. Right? It's expensive to run a global bank, both because of the fragmentation of the infrastructure and because of the fragmentation of regulation. So I don't think we're expensive relative to global banks, but global banks are expensive relative to local banks. We are a global bank. We like to approach the level of a local bank in terms of productivity and efficiency. We've got customer number targets. We want to get to 20 million customers, so it's a roughly doubling from where we started our customer base. Most of that obviously will come in retail. A lot of that will come in partnerships. So we want to be the partner of choice. We want to be the world's leading bank around sustainability and sustainable finance. That's everything from helping our clients to transition to a net zero carbon neutral economy, helping a carbon market to develop and thrive, be an active participant in that. When we get to the point where 10% of our income and profits are coming from specifically sustainability-linked products, right? So there's always a financial target at the end of that. That comes with a share price objective. But to do that, we've got to build clients, we've got to build customer service, and we've got to be efficient.
So in the time that you've been chief executive, you've done a great job holding the organization together and giving it purpose. The numbers seem to be working, although I think your latest quarter results has a dent in it, but the overall franchise seems to be in place. Would you agree with that?
Well, I think the franchise is in great shape. And look, our stock price goes up, our stock price goes down. We're still one of the best performing banks in the market in 2023. So in terms of share price performance. We'd love not to have the down days, but sometimes big up days are followed by little down days, and we roll with that. The franchise is intact. The momentum is good. I'm very optimistic.
Thanks for spending time with me
Thank you.
today.
Thank you, Emmanuel.